Well, Mcneely is gone, not coming to Indiana. This is a huge upset for all the fans. Really has been a tough day. I've been listening to so many people go on from this direction to that direction. This is going to be a different type of episode. Thank you for joining me.
Watford 3 on the way.
Hello, guys, and thank you once again for joining me on Indiana Sports Connection. I am your residential anchor, Aaron. Thank you for being here. Subscribe to the channel. Hit that thumbs up button. We can grow this community. This is where the most passionate Indiana fans come to talk about the game. Now let's get into talking about the Indiana Hoosiers. What has happened to our team? I want to just get right into it. This might be a short video. I don't want to go on any long rants. I just want to talk a little bit about, when Mike Woodson came in, I really believed in this guy. And the way he talked and the way, he did have a different way about him than how Archie Miller was. And I thought, you know what, this is exactly what this team needs. And I really feel like he helped Jackson Davis and Race Tom and those teams get a little bit better by having a different type of voice in the locker room. So I've always been on his side all through last year, all the year before. I never criticized his coaching. Well, a little bit. I mean, when he said it wasn't his job to get Miller cop threes, it's like, well, you know what? You're a college coach. That is your job. But for the most part, what has happened here? I mean, what has happened? I mean, you have the three assistant coaches, if you don't know, for Indiana. They stayed aboard from, like, Brian Walsh was promoted when Dane Fife was let go. And then the other two assistants, one, he had some recruits like Jalen Hood-Schifino, Shabazz, and then and he was supposed to be instrumental in some recruiting. My main point of this is, what are your assistants doing? And I think, furthermore, I mean, I believe what has happened is, like, Woodson's not getting it done at his position and his head's just spinning. So he doesn't know what these assistants are even supposed to be doing, and they're not doing it. Let me tell you this story. And I remember hearing this story about Tom Crean and Cody Zeller and how their recruiting went down with him. Tom Crean was over the top annoying to Zeller's dad. And I guess, like, Zeller's dad said to them, Tom, like, you don't have to, like, keep sending the letterhead to the house, and you don't have to keep, coming to the games, and you don't have to keep, because he kept on it, even though he committed to Indiana. Is that what's happened here? There's rumors out there, and that's what I've heard. Is this what happened with Liam Mcneely? Did Mike Woodson pretty much treat him like a Ronco food dehydrator? You said it and you forget it. Well, you know what? He just doesn't know what world he's living in. He pissed me off so bad. The press conference he had today at 10:30, it was just, he's short with the media. I know you can't talk about, and I found this out, you can't talk about recruits' names during press conferences. Like, guys in high school, you can't mention their name. But you can talk about just general recruiting. And all he had to say, as soon as somebody even opened their mouth just asking him a little bit about recruiting, well, just roll that clip.
We're going to put a lot of time and effort into recruiting. I mean, how concerned are you at this point, just in terms of how 2024, how the class has turned out to this point?
Well, again, I'm not even going to talk about recruiting with you guys. I'm just not. It's not, it's something we got to do, and this is going to be a big summer for us. We got to go out and get field players, because we can lose players. You just never know. That's what the portal presents. So that's just kind of how I feel about it at this point.
Where we're at. This is where we're at. Goose egg. How is that even possible? There are tons, and I was listening to Sharon Wilkerson on the radio today, and congratulations to him for, really doing a great job cleaning his life up and getting a coaching job at the high school. Him and Pat Graham play against each other, and he was talking about, he just said, like, of my humble opinion, is he a Division I coach? Is he, it's just in his humble opinion, he thinks there are 3 or 4 guards in Southern Indiana. There are probably 3 or 4 guards in Southern Indiana. This is a fact that could play at Indiana right now. But do we care? Do these guys care about that? No. I think what they're looking for on the recruiting trail is something easy. I think we're just looking for something easy. Like, it just takes a crap load of hard work and discipline to be a really great coach. And I don't want to go back to the days of Bob Knight. I don't want to go back to the days of anything. We need to move on to the future. Look, part of the reason why Mike Woodson is failing is because he's doing some things that Bob Knight would do, but he doesn't have any of the experience. See the difference? It's like he is a complete buffoon because you're trying to treat this job like you have all this experience in the world and you don't have to answer any of the questions. You don't have to. You're above it, right? But the thing is, you're not. And you didn't win 3 national championships, and you haven't won crap since you've been here. So when somebody asks you a question, you very much do have to answer it. And most of the coaches, some of the older guard coaches, they do get real gruff. I mean, Tom Izzo went nuts in a press conference last week. We can fire the coach. I mean, that is the one thing. And will that make everything better? No, it won't. But we have to learn something from what has happened here with this right here. Because what has happened to Indiana basketball from about 2017 until now is just absolutely abysmal. I mean, we're already a couple months into this year. It's going to be 2025 soon. I mean, soon it'll be, a sheer decade of just not having any good guard play. Something you can say about Archie Miller is you could see, he brought in Galloway. He had that one recruiting class where he brought in Galloway, Lander, Leal. That was early on, and you kind of thought, okay, these guys are going to develop and get a little bit better. I guess my point is, he was bringing in Indiana guys, brought in Romeo Langford and TJD, the guards I just talked about. But it wasn't year 3, and he was just completely empty of what. This shows the amount of work they're doing. This shows the amount of work they're doing. It's just not enough. This is not the NBA. Like, you don't just say, hey, we got a game to play and let's go play. That's just not how college basketball is. I don't know where they're going to even go from here. And Mike Woodson said, oh, it's going to be a big summer. This guy is so full of, false promises, excuses. This is a bad experiment bringing this guy in. And I would still, if Thad Matta and Dane Fife were there right now, I would still have a higher confidence that somehow something's going to be figured out in a way that would be able to dig ourselves out of this hole by getting recruits and this and that. If we had more experience on the staff that we could look at and say, yes, these guys have experience. They're going to get this figured out. They're going to get this taken care of. It's not going well. This team is just on the road to nowhere. Really, when you look at it, what can we sit here today and say is better than it was 3 years ago? I know he had all the guys leave. I know one thing you have to remember, he walked into a veteran team. That should have gave him ample time to get people ready. You know what I'm saying? He had these teams. He knew these guys, like Trace Jackson Davis. He begged him to stay, and then he stayed another year, So I always thought that, that he had his reasons for, begging him to stay. And, it's just not going to get any better with Mike Woodson unless there are drastic changes. And if you want to bring in new assistant coaches and all that over the summer so we can get some recruits, we can really, we're already behind the 8 ball on that. What does that look like? Bringing in guys, you can see this guy is old, pissy in the press conferences. He's not going to want to deal with somebody that's telling him what to do. I can tell you that right now. And that's just going to be a load to deal with him. Mike Woodson, if you bring in assistant coaches and then he doesn't want them there, I wouldn't want to be there either. It's a bad situation. They got to do something. And, I feel for you out there, Hoosier fans. Stick in there. I know it seems bad. It's always darkest before the dawn. I'll say all the things, So thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining me. I tried to stay very calm. This is going to be a different type of episode. And so thank you for being here. And until next time, stay classy out there, Hoosier fans.
Are we going to do what they say can't be done?